Thinking about doing, like, I'm inspired to do something. I just don't have time to.
Yeah, cool. Folks, welcome to the Remodeler Show debate version. Dun dun dun. Michelangelo is sitting in his little bird's nest or perch. What do you call it?
Call this the Sky Cove.
The Sky Cove.
Yeah.
And tell the people it is a Marvin product.
Marvin Windows, this is their prototype, first ever Sky Cove. It's a pre-assembled glass box steel structure that you bolt onto the side of the house. So it's got a nice cantilever, very clean, kind of minimal lines, maximum glass lid.
And now that you're living in it, do you like it?
I love it.
What do you like about it?
Everybody wants to be. My youngest wants to come here. My second youngest now wants to come here and do his distance learning. My wife does her meetings in here, and I'm doing a meeting in here. This is the escape. This is the, like, I'm in nature moment.
That's cool. That's cool. So we're gonna get into the main topic, which is this article that Michael wrote that was titled "Free is a Four-Letter Word." But I wanted to just dive off of what you just said. I think that there's too little creativity in the projects, the remodeling projects that I see so many of my clients across the fruited plains doing. And to lean into more creative ideas and trying new things and exploring new ideas is something that I think so many remodelers enjoy doing, and I think sometimes we get stuck in a routine. So I think that's an example of just something really creative, that let your imagination go a little bit, and you meet with a prospect and a client that's super creative and wants to do something fun. Lean into that.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, see, we were agreeing. This is gonna be easy. So I had either.
I'm not going to talk over you. I'm not going to. What?
Shut up.
Wait a second. That's my line.
Oh, is that? Wait, what are you talking about? You, like, I'm one of the presidential candidates and you're the other? You think I'm Trump? Did you just say that I'm Trump and you're Biden? Come on. All right. So it's either Anshel. I think it's going to be a little bit more Anshel and Hunt versus Anshel versus Hunt. But Michael wrote an article that was pretty pointed. And well, it's in the comments, and maybe after this, you guys can revisit it and look at it and read it through. But it's very pointed, related to this idea of free design, this idea of, if you decide to move forward with the project, we'll roll that cost into your down payment, so you really don't pay anything, versus charging that as a standalone fee. And how do we position that and charge that? And he used some strong words. He wasn't like cussing, but he was using some strong words in it. Right. So we're gonna talk about that. But first, we're gonna start with the end in mind. When you think fast forward, and I moved my 12:30 meeting, I got a little bit more wiggle time. So if we can go a little bit longer, that's fine. But when we think of the end of the Remodeler Show today, what do you hope that this conversation elicits?
I hope that I love that you're doing this, that you're starting with the end in mind, because my goal, right, is to move the industry forward. It's always my goal, is to help this industry become more professional and improve. And I'd like people to consider that that there's a better way to do things, that it's well within their grasp, and that I think that free is motivated by fear, and that's not a great reason for doing things. And I'd like to see people love it if people came away saying, man, I'm seriously going to consider changing my practice as a result of that conversation.
And perhaps where you're at on this is like way out here from a standpoint of sophistication, and we built it up, and you charge $170 per design hour. Is that right, in your business?
That's right.
Right. So you're out there like charging professional fees, and we charge well for our design, and it is a profit center in our business.
Wait,
and I think, pardon?
We're charging what kind of fees? Professional fees, because we're professionals.
Don't use my words against me. It was interesting. I've prepped more for this than I have for any other remodeler, so I mentioned that to you. And then what's interesting, when I was thinking, like, I was positioning this as a debate and, like, trying to build it up so that more people would join in and listen to it. It's interesting when you debate somebody, there's only so much prep you can do, right? It's like, well, depending on what they say, we'll go this way and that way. It was an interesting exercise for me. Plus I didn't want to look like a fool. So I did some prepping. But a lot of times people are way out here, and sometimes you can go from charging free design to, I moved up a notch, and now I'm charging for design, but I'm rolling it into the cost of it. And then I get some confidence and I build it up a little bit more. And you know what? This is a standalone fee now. And I understand the value of that. And I'm moving towards it. So I think sometimes we have to realize that this is a step-by-step process oftentimes. So I like that that's the heart of it. It's similar to when you and I did, I can't remember if it was a podcast versus a remodeler show, but we did it on transparent pricing, another topic
Right.
that is kind of pushing the envelope on what is normal in our industry. And it made people think. Some people made the decisive decision to continue to do it exactly the way they're currently doing it, but it's made them think about it. Other people, like one of my clients down in Georgia, Peter and Scott with Rainy Blair, have embraced it. What's super cool is they've taken it and they're doing it.
Yeah, and
and
there's
it's
a fellow in Ontario who, as a result of that conversation, called. We had a conversation, and he's taken it on.
Yeah. So, I think part of what we want to do in the remodelers community, part of what this show is about. So when I think of start with the end in mind, the end result of this is just to continue to make people think, not so that they agree wholeheartedly with what you say or what I say, but just makes people think and makes them have to challenge, why do I, Michael said that interesting. Do I do that for free, or do I roll that in because of fear? That's a deep question, and that's an interesting question. And we're moving so fast, so often in our businesses and our day in and day out, that we don't even take the time to think about that. That's true.
I mean, what is the why? What is the why? Why is it free? I mean, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you don't think you can charge for it.
Bingo. And why is that? When you get to the root of that,
because I don't think I'm very good at design. Well, then maybe maybe you shouldn't be designing, or maybe you are good at design and you should be charging, or you could hire someone who's good at design and charge.
All right, it's time to move into your article, and these incendiary comments that you made about people. And by the way, I see now we're getting some people joining in. Can you give us a little like, please? Just a little click, 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 or even a love, like put or whatever you want to do, but just a little bit of that, or hi guys, little comments. If you get a little engagement like that, more people will see it and we'll see it. Okay, so early in your article, you said free design isn't really free. It's part of the company's overhead, which is reflected back in the pricing of the project. Share a little bit more about that.
I think that it's fairly common for folks to talk about things like loss leader, right? Or this is part of my, it's a way that I get clients. So if you're calculating your overhead, then that's all got to be part of your overhead, right? And so when you're marking your projects up, you're calculating that back into your project. So it's there, right? It's got, if it's not, then you're just straight up losing money, and then you need some help anyway. But yeah, it is omnipresent because it is part of your overhead, right? Because it's a factor that you're not billing for.
Hey, stop using big words. Stop using big words like omnipresence, please. Let's if we're going to debate, bring it down to my level, please.
Always there.
Yes. Always there. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's always there.
Ambulate into the next conversation.
It's true. So even just this idea, so just understanding this, free design isn't really free. For example, if I offer free design and I spend 5 hours and I go into Chief Architect and I do a layout for that bathroom, I just spent 5 hours of my time on that.
Right.
And my time is valuable, and that's going to show up somewhere in what I'm paying myself and what I'm paying somebody on my team. It's going to have to be paid or absorbed in just my overall overhead. So it is important to realize, and I think this part of the conversation isn't as prevalent with the people that are going to be watching this. I think so many people, but let's put a big hit on it, and then we'll move on to the next part. If you're offering free design, you've got to really, really pause. I want you to reach out to me. I want you to, Kyle, I offer free design, and let me at least record a Loom video, have a quick conversation with you and say, okay, we've got to talk about that. Because the big reason I don't like free design is because I want you to protect your time and not waste your time. And I also don't want you to offer free design because you're not going to deliver as good of a remodeling experience for your clients. You're not going to be able to get into all of the details and all of the planning and all of the selections that need to be made in order for this project to go smooth and stay on time and on schedule. That's why I don't like it. You were going a little bit of a different route of saying I don't like it because it's terrible for the industry. Talk about that a little bit more. And you
Sure.
probably
I was going to ask how many, for those people who have been doing free design who are now going to, how many Hail Marys do they have to do, now that they're changing their ways?
Was that a Catholic reference?
I don't know. I don't know anything about Hail Marys.
I don't either. I'm a Protestant.
So yeah, I think it hurts the industry. I think it not only hurts our industry, but I think it hurts our adjacent industries. That when you take something that is a profession, right, and you say that profession has so little value that I will do it for no money, right? My time is of no value. My experience is of no value. The whole field of design it has no value. A monkey could do it, a chicken could do it. So why would you pay for it? I'm just going to give it away. And it's anytime people do discounts, this is getting larger and more philosophical. Anytime anybody gives something away or does free, the signaling to the public is that the industry that they're in is not a high value industry, and it is a race to the bottom. If you're doing high volume stuff and your pennies matter and you're chasing the penny, that's the venue of the Home Depot and Lowe's who are price matching each other and they're buying real estate.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what we do. We're a service industry. And the service industry should very much value the service that we provide, right? We're not a material.
Oh, your 2 minutes are up. I'm sorry. It's back to me. Is that how the debate works? Wouldn't that be super obnoxious to actually be in a debate, like be mid-thought, and then, I'm sorry, okay, your 2 minutes are up. Like, I didn't finish my thought because now you're all thrown off. But your point was made, and I did want to ask this as a follow-up.
Good that you cut me off. Otherwise, I ramble. So thank you.
Okay. Permission to cut you off? Okay, thank you. Don't you think the public can understand the difference between a free design and a professional design? Don't you think they understand that, okay, if I'm not paying anything for this, it's probably not going to be that great a quality? Don't you think they're sophisticated enough to figure that out?
Maybe not. But why go there? Why are you why are you offering design if it's not professional design? I mean, I'll throw that one back. Like, what business do you have designing something if it's not professional design? I mean, what is it? Right? If you don't think that you're very good at design and you want to hand it off to a designer or an architect, then you should do that. If you need a set of drawings just for the purpose of pulling permits, then you should bill for the time that it takes you to measure the site, draw the drawing, a little line.
You want to see my favorite? You want to see my favorite person in the world?
Is this your leaf blower?
Oh, that's my man Curly. It's Thursday.
Curly.
It's Thursday.
My guy's name is Clutch.
What is it?
My guy's name is Clutch, and his business is Lackluster Lawn Care with the slogan, "It's not great, but it's good enough."
Some remodelers might say, look, my design isn't great, but it's good enough. I'm in business to build. He still
bills me. He does a shitty job mowing my lawn, but he does still bill me for it.
Okay, then fire him. Then it's not going to work.
No. He advertised pretty good, lackluster lawn care, and it's $20 and then the lawn's done, and I hate mowing the lawn. It's good enough.
Right. So when I did college paint, so if I'm somebody that is talking to you, OA Design, or I'm talking to one of your competitors, and we have this initial call, and somebody says, yeah, we offer free design. And then they call you, and they start to hear about your process and your design, and you start to talk to them about the level of detail. And folks, we got to get through variances, and we've got to do this. And, tell me more about your house. That area is going to be da-da-da-da. And you start educating, and you say, we charge, 8%, or we charge X amount. We charge $170 an hour for design and development. It's a standalone fee. But folks, it's so important that you go through that. For this type of project, you need to do that. You have just demolished that competitor that was offering free design.
It's not just for that type of thing. And that's the thing is, for a bathroom. So I think this is important. It's not as important as the underlying philosophy, but the amount of work that it takes to design a simple project, right? If we're going down the path of variances, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars of design work, right? So on a kitchen, say an $80,000 kitchen, there's about $7,000 of design fees.
Let's call it a $75,000 kitchen, because that was my next thing.
$75,000 kitchen remodel, and I got my as-built. I've got meetings with clients. I've got layout, version 1, 2, 3, mix it up, come back, meet with the client, pick tile, pick doorknob hardware, talk about light fixtures and plumbing fixtures, meet with subs, do the walkthrough. I mean, there's a boatload of hours that goes into that. And then a good drawing that is an executable drawing that doesn't require that someone with, kind of holy knowledge of the project is there on site at all times. That takes time to build that and create that and make sure that it's buttoned down and it's right, and that you don't have a door that's opening into a pendant light, right? That's the purpose of going through that process and really finding out what the client's aesthetic is and how do they really want to use the space. Instead of just speccing a set of drawer boxes, what kind of cooking do you do, right? And in a bathroom,
stick with this though. Stick with the kitchen for a second. So on a $75,000 kitchen, like you're kind of describing there, and you're thinking of all those details, what would typically be your design and development fee?
So $75,000 kitchen is going to be somewhere between $7,000 to $8,000 in design fees, and that is all the way through drawings for permit, drawings for construction. That is a CD construction ready drawing set.
So I just want to play around with this a little bit. So let's say it's 7,500. Let's say it's about 10% it comes out to or so, and you charge $170 an hour is what you're kind of figuring for that design and development. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So 7,500. So that's about let's say rounded up 45 hours of time.
Not many hours.
Huh? It's not a ton, right? You're kind of like, is that even enough, right? So when I look at this example and I said, hey, $7,500 kitchen remodel, they charge a standalone fee. It's $1,500. We charge $1,500. Let's say it takes a similar amount of time. They're charging $33 an hour for that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of remodelers who look at that. And again, note, they have a standalone fee. This isn't your, incendiary, what did you call it? Hang on. Let me just go down to use your
insidious.
Insidiously deceptive, dishonest, lacking integrity, bad. We'll get all to this in a second. This is not the insidiously deceptive. This is somebody that charges a standalone fee for it. They're basically charging $33 an hour is what it comes out to. They probably aren't aware of that. But they approach it from a standpoint of, it's an approachable number that a homeowner might say, that makes a lot of, that makes a lot of sense. And the remodeler sitting there going, it's still a revenue generator. I'm going to be able to pay for that project coordinator, that designer I'm hiring with some of this. Hang on.
I agree. Okay. Yeah. All right.
And my main thought here is not necessarily that it's a loss leader, but that 90% of what I care about is getting that $75,000 contract signed. That's where the money's made. That's where the 80-90% of my business made. Now that's the philosophy of a lot of folks. I think I want you to talk about, guys, we need to think about changing that philosophy a little bit, because I think that's challenging me, and it would challenge others to think about this as a revenue source and generator. But that concept, when I describe what I just described, I think you could call the person undervaluing what they offer. I think you could call that person not charging what they need to charge, but to jump to that's deceptive. That's
not what. So the people who are doing the credit design fees credited back to the project,
that's what
they're the ones that I'm after. If you are undercharging for your service, you're charging $33 an hour for design. You're leaving a lot of money on the table. So, maybe not the sharpest tool in the shed, maybe, but you are being upfront, honest.
Did you just call them dumb? Did you just call my constituents dumb?
Not your constituents, but No, we all have moments. There are definitely areas where I am not the sharpest tool in the shed. I am happy to own that.
But charging, so I
Controlling
think
that motor is
I
one
would
of those.
right. I would push back and say, yes, I get that I'm charging $33 an hour for that. It's better than nothing. But guess what?
But
I've got I've got 10, 12, 15, $18,000 of gross profit that's coming from this project, and that's
but
where
is
my
it
that's where my
actually
sights are on.
covering? Is it actually covering the cost of that employee, or is that employee's wages still being tucked into the project? And if they are still being tucked into the project, then you're not actually being honest with the client about their project cost.
The honest part, the honest part gets me. So, that might not be the full cost that it takes to design and develop this project. Maybe it's 50% of it, and the other 50% is captured in my overall overhead. Is that dishonest? That's dishonest. Tell me more
If
about that.
someone says, "Why does my project cost this much?" and you say, "Well, cabinets, da 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 da." Oh, by the way, I also have to pay for the other half of the design that I don't really charge you for telling you that I'm doing it because I have it tucked in my overhead, but you
Yeah,
actually pay for it.
I tuck some of that in there because, we want the design and retain and project development side of things to be just easier and more approachable. And this allows us. I'm just playing around. This allows us to put a number out there. $1,500 is still a good amount of money. It's still a lot of trust that you're extending my way to go into this design and project development, and it covers most of our costs, but not all of it.
I think if you're upfront and you say, "Look, we have a package deal. Here's we'll come in, we'll do your kitchen. It'll be between $70,000 and $80,000, and that includes the design work." Now, you've just told them that you are billing them for design. You haven't disclosed how much it is an hour or anything of that nature, but you did tell them that it was a part of that package. And now, legitimately, in your overhead, you can capture it because you've told them this includes the design.
Transparency,
But you didn't say the
honesty.
design is free. And that's the operative bit. It's in language, right? This is where, so much is born out of language used inappropriately or inaccurately.
Yeah. No, that's good. So how do we explain that? Talk more about how this could be viewed as a revenue stream. Guys and gals, don't overlook the opportunity for this to be a revenue stream. Hit on that. Pardon me?
You're keeping it positive. You're like, let's not beat them up too badly.
Well, I know that's important. That's the reason is we're keeping the end in mind. The end in mind is to challenge people's thoughts. We're having fun too, but the end in mind is to challenge people's thoughts. And I know you say this. Rob Bauer talks about this as far as this is a revenue stream. What I charge is a standalone fee. My client that I was just talking about, I was talking to him yesterday. They hired a project coordinator. And he's like, "Kyle, we used to roll it in. We've graduated and matured." Not become more ethical. We graduated and matured to the point where it's a standalone fee, and we're paying for them now. Sorry, I think I would be good. I might be a good.
Yes,
I might be a good debater. Go ahead.
What Rob is doing is actually not that far from our transparency model, where you pull your project management fees forward and they're visible as that's management fees, right? Yeah. Even though you and I disagree on the whole transparency bit.
Correct. But talk about making this a bit of a revenue stream.
I think on our end, at any rate, we are around $200,000, $250,000, $300,000 annually in design fees. That goes straight to us. And I think that people oftentimes, if you really drill down and in your numbers, and I know that people are probably sick of hearing people talk about the numbers all the time. And you say,
and if they are, sorry, because we're still going to talk about it in 2027 and 2033 and 2072.
Yeah. Ethics, morality, and numbers, they all matter. Yes. Yeah. So I've got a $75,000 kitchen. What is my net profit on that kitchen? How much of it is coming back to me? And how much of it is going out? How much of your projects are going to the cabinet guy, the HVAC guy, the plumbing, the guys and gals, sorry, misogynistic language.
I can't. Right? You I think in a debate right there, I'd be like, I called it guys and gals. Did you see how he had to catch himself? He would typically just say guys because he is chauvinistic. That's what they would do. I can't imagine getting up there and actually doing that.
I think you just got to own it. When you goof, you own it. Hey, yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the subject. How much of that is coming back to you, right? And I think at the end of the day, if you said, well, on design fees, how much of that comes back to me? Well, all of it. All of it comes back to you. That's going directly towards the wages for those employees. It's a healthy revenue stream. It's great for cash flow. Every time you sign a design contract and you've got a deposit of, say, $3,000 on the design work or $5,000 on the design work, and if you've got people out selling and closing, say, one thing a week, that's good cash flow. Yeah. And your product is instantly deliverable. You're having weekly meetings with your client. You're moving through. You're billing by the hour. Your employees are tracking their time. You're billing for your time. They are billable hours, just like lawyers, just like consultants, just like architects. You are billing for your time as you go. You're not waiting for the drywall to be complete to get your payment, and then dealing with an angry client because they got drywall dust everywhere, and now you're paying for the cleanup, right? That's all gone. It's the cleanest form of cash available to us in the design build world.
Michael, who did you pay to post this?
I don't know, because it says they're anonymous.
I know, because they didn't. Yes, they're right. I bet you these hearts, though, are for me. I bet you Rhonda's putting those hearts for me. All right, we're going to do a little rapid fire. Your quick thoughts on this. We charge $2,500 to do design and project development. If you don't move forward with us, you still pay that amount. If you do move forward, we apply that $2,500 to your down payment. Give me your thoughts on that.
You just threw $2,500 away. Why? What is wrong with you?
Good challenge. That's a good challenge, right? And I'm even getting more aggressive with that. I'm seeing more of my clients see the value to the point where they're pushing more and more to going, let's just make it standalone. Oh crap, I tried it and said we charge $2,500 and that's a standalone fee, and they sell why and the value and the work involved, and they present it and they leave out the part about it applying towards the down payment, and they go ahead.
I just remembered something.
Please.
So along these lines, every time people are like, hey, the client took my drawings and they got someone else to do the project and I'm really mad at them, how do I go after them? That's gone. Because they paid you for the drawings belong to them.
It's a big one.
No conflict.
Yeah. Now, I think where we might differ is I am perfectly okay with one of my remodelers who are not charging for design and development to start out by saying we charge $600 to design and develop that kitchen. And by the way, that $600 rolls into your down payment if you decide to go forward with us. The reason I am perfectly comfortable with that is because I think it is a very solid step in the right direction. And I know that once they start to have success with that, it's going to lead them to increase that 600 to 800. 800 to 1,000 to 1,500, and also within not that long of time, they're going to shift to say that's a standalone fee. And I think,
I hear where you're going with that. I think I don't live in a black and white world. I don't think it's it's not good and evil, right and wrong, right? There's shades of gray, but there is.
I hear there's 50 shades. I hear there's 50 shades of gray.
At least 50 shades. Yes. Four of them are no good though, so to throw those out. But I think that there is this habit, especially in our industry, to be like, well, it's better than the word. Like, we're not actually bad. We're like slowly baby. It's just like rip off the Band-Aid, grow up. Live your values. And put yourself in the consumer's shoe. I mean, if you really took a hard look at it from outside of the industry, would you say, yeah, that's good business practice? You'd say, what are you doing?
I just know, and if you view what I just described as unethical and like dishonest, lacking integrity, insidiously deceptive, then we're going to have a hard time getting people to where you want them to be. If we're going to say that if you do it this way, you are insidious, you are literally being deceptive and dishonest and lacking integrity. You have a bad moral compass and you're selfish. And not only that,
saying that, I think for the people that you're describing in that scenario, I'm saying, well, the article says if you're crediting design back to the project,
yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Same as saying if you're saying that we're going to charge you a small amount. Oh, you are saying that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And
hold on. Here's the thing. If you are actually doing that, then you are fine. But if you are not actually doing it, then you are being dishonest and you are lacking in integrity. If you are saying, I'm going to discount that $600 back to the project, but you are actually still charging them for it somewhere in your project, that is not okay. It's not right.
Right.
If you want to hurt the industry and you want to give up money, you're free to give up money. And it sucks that you want to hurt the industry and leave, and do that. It's the dishonesty is, the Facebook remodeler in the conversation that I had, who's brags about how they use this credit back of a substantial design fee.
Yes.
When in fact their internal cost is very low and they actually turn a profit on it.
Right. That's the example you used. And that okay, I'm glad, and I think we clarified that a little bit. I think the other thing that as we talk through this is, and this is just me living through coaching remodelers for the last 12 years. If our end goal, again, is to increase professionalism, we have to cheer on people that are charging $400 for that bathroom design and development and roll it in. Because if they're getting beat up and drilled when they're trying to do that, they're not going to get where we're trying to get them.
That's why you're a business coach and I'm not.
Yes. So I had a couple of thoughts. It's a business strategy. I don't think the other thing I was thinking, I don't think homeowners are feeling duped. I think they understand the process. I think they feel good about, just getting into the game for a little bit less than 10% of it, or something like that. That's something else. I wanted to read this a little bit. Not so much this. Let's talk briefly about architects, because I had. Let me lead on that.
Yeah.
Architects are, huh?
I'm reading what you're saying.
Yeah. Yes. Architects are sitting there. Well, you were in a position of like, what are you guys doing? You're undercutting us. Don't you value us? What the crap, man? We got years and years and you're pretending like you offer design. How much respect do architects show remodelers?
Fair point.
Why can't they understand the value and the need for us to charge for project development? Okay, Mr. Professional Architect who's over designing and refusing to select the remodeler up front so that this can go smoothly. And then we have to come in and try to do all this. And you line me up with 4 other people and then we compete to the low man wins. Yeah. How about if you want to run your mouth about why we're undercutting and undervaluing you? How about you start saying, you know what, let's do this right. This is a triangle between you and selecting a builder and getting a homeowner involved. And you charge for project development? Absolutely, because that's the best way to remodel and build. Write an article about that, Michael. I'm sorry.
So first, when they go low, we go high.
Okay.
And I'm not an eye for an eye kind of guy. So, what they're doing, what you just said is, totally agree.
I see it all the time.
Doesn't make what we do right. Just because they're doing it wrong. I hate wrong and right. Just because of their practices don't support us, doesn't give us license to beat them up. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like kindergarten rules, right? Someone punches you, you don't punch them back. Someone takes your toy, you say, ma'am, please don't take my toy. You let it go, right? That said, Bill Reed and John Becker's book on the integrated design process is one of my favorites. And the whole movement that they started really trying to promote the builder or remodeler should be at the table on day one. You don't select them after the project's designed. You select them on day one. And you work as a team. And your architect, I'm not going to make a plug for transparency right now, but I'm going to make a plug for transparency. Architects and designers undervalue us because we as an industry don't know how to value what we do because it doesn't exist in our line. When we go through our estimates, there are not lines for project management because we use this stupid multiplier as a way of covering all of our cost of project execution, overhead, and markup.
So much easier.
It is easier, but no wonder. I mean, why would the architect say, hey, remodeler, I do value your project management because you showed me how you're managing the plan review process and inspections and quality.
And materials and the material procurement.
I see how you've laid that out, and I see at the end of the day, you've got your 10% or your 11% profit. I've got a $3 million project I'm going to give to you. I'm going to ask that your margin on that, your profit's down around 4%. if you're comfortable with that. It's a $4 million project. It's a ton of money. You'll get it done in, do you want to do it or not? You can make that decision as a business, but unless you're going to go through the rest, you can't ask them to respect us.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. So how would you rate that conversation we just had? 1 being terrible, 10 being fantastic. That went better than I thought. Honestly, how would you think it went?
I love our conversations, Kyle.
No, give me a number.
I always give him 11s. I always say 11.
Oh, well, that's a little aggressive.
No.
I feel like I could have let you. I feel like I could have let you talk a little bit more. Maybe I was a little feisty. I really wanted to win the debate. I do believe that there's no winners or losers here. We started with the end in mind, and our goal was to make people think and to challenge the way you're doing it, and not so that you can just defend it so hard and no, so that you can actually sit back and reflect, so that maybe when you have a meeting with your internal team next week and say, guys, why do we do it this way? Or I'm sorry, guys or gals. There we go again. Why do we do it this way? Just making people think about these things. And this has helped my clarity on how, because I wholeheartedly believe, I think the more that we get clear with design and development is a service that you offer and is extremely valuable. And let's really understand what design build is and how we can continue to do that and build that, because it's wonderful and it's a great model and more people are going to it. But there's steps in the process, and we need to start by crawling, and then by walking before we can run. You're running, you're sprinting, right? At your level. Yes, you are. You're sprinting, man.
Mambling.
You're mambling. So those are a couple of my takeaways. What are a few? You get the last word. What are a few of your takeaways or things you want to emphasize?
I mean, I love that you always try to move it to the positive, and I think that that's really important. I wrote the piece to get the issue out, and I used some strong language to get people fired up, because sometimes that's what it takes to move it to the center stage and to get us to have the conversation.
Yeah.
I think ultimately what comes out of everything I advocate for, what comes out of it is something wonderful and beautiful for the end user on both sides. I believe that for the remodeler, if you are charging for your time, you aren't going to complain about the time that you spend. If you're charging for estimating and the client says, I will pay you for 12 hours of estimating, you don't feel like, man, it takes me so long.
Short end of the stick. Yeah.
Hey, this is my job. And if the client says, I want to go do some design revisions and explore some other ideas, you say, well, we're hourly, so change order away. I mean, let's design for 6 months. I'm cool with it. We can do this all day long. The benefit is that the client has some power. They can choose what they want you to design and work on, and you are getting compensated for your time. And I think that it takes a lot of the pain points for our industry out of the mix. Those staff meetings where what did you do this week? Oh man, I spent so many hours, XXX. Those are unbillable hours. What if they were billable hours?
Interesting. Two things to wrap up. One is Justin. I just talked to Justin yesterday. He was going to send me some swag in the mail. I wonder if he did it or not. And then the other one is I had a painter come. My wife is gone for 4 nights, and she's been wanting to do something to the fireplace. It was like old, like nasty brick, and I had him paint it. And either she's going to walk in and be like, "I love it," or she's going to be like, I can't believe you did that." So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting.
Very cool. What
Yes.
a nice
Anyways.
Yeah.
Or it's going to put me in the doghouse. I don't know. All right. That wraps up today's extended version of the Remodeler Show. Thank you, Michael, for being a guest. Appreciate you. And everybody, you saw a civilized debate. We're not matching up perfectly on this. The way that I'm taking a macro. The way that our country, the way that our nation is going to. I'm getting a call from Mom.
Oh man.
It's all right. The way that our nation is going to come together is not if Trump gets reelected or if Biden gets elected or vice versa or whatever. It starts in our one-to-one conversations that we have with the people around us. And if we don't have this short attention span and we actually put thought and be thoughtful, and not just when you hear something, you just immediately want to react, but you actually think about it. the biggest thing that I learned by preparing for this is I spent more time just thinking, reading the article and thinking, what's going on in Michael's head? Why does he think this way? I was trying to be empathetic towards it, and it softened me and it helped me understand why I think the way I do and why I'm approaching this topic. We've just got to be more patient with each other and show empathy for one another and not race to finding the biggest negative about somebody's argument. Find some common ground. There's a lot of common ground we found in this, and I sharpened your thoughts, you sharpened my thoughts. Dude, we got to do more of that. This country's a mess, and we've got to fix. And we got it. The way that we fix it is on the one-to-one conversations. Don't blame Washington. Don't blame the politicians. This and that. Blame yourself. Blame me. Blame you. Blame us. And let's work to heal it a little bit.
Yeah. Can I make a plug for reading? You know.
I just like that statement. Can I make a plug for something? Reading. Yes. Okay. Final word. I gotta go. Mom's calling. What final word on reading? Go.
Just no. Like, I wrote an article. Read the article. When people post things, read it. Read it critically. Read it, without your already always listening voice responding. Just like actually read it.
Beautiful. Man, that's brilliant. Simple but brilliant. All right, my friend. See you later.